Welcome back to another episode of TriRealHard. I am absolutely ecstatic to be through to the final five. Massive thank you to anybody who voted for me, Nathan Gascoigne, and my 1989 Diamondback Ascent to gravel bike conversion. The response to the bike has been overwhelming. I'm not by any stretch of the imagination a professional or, even a qualified bike mechanic. So to have this kind of response at this stage is great. I'm really enjoying the competition. So yeah, got a couple more months of me now. You're stuck with me, I'm afraid. I do apologise for being AWOL after the vote results came out for a few days there. I did need a break. I basically not had much sleep in that final week prior to the vote. There was also the fact that my granddad's funeral unfortunately coincided with the final day of voting. So yeah, a real mixture of emotions there, sort of grieving and all of the emotion that comes wrapped up with losing somebody very dear to you and a loved one, compounded with all the excitement of the vote results, and then prior to that the anticipation of what the result was going to be. It all happened at the same time and with very little sleep running up to that. So I was frazzled, to be honest. I was totally frazzled. I did need a few days to recover. And it was sunny here for the first weekend in a long time, and I took a much needed break from bashing trash to actually go and ride that bike. So yeah, we'll have footage of that and details of that ride at the end of this week. I got some jobs done, like actually fixing a leaking conservatory roof, and as you know, that's my workshop, or where I'm actually building bikes. So yeah, I had to get that fixed, and fortunately it's raining now and that isn't leaking at present. I also fitted some pedals to my kid's balance bike, his Strider balance bike, and we went out for a ride, and yeah, just some much needed family time. But yeah, I'm back now and I'm looking forward to taking some risks and doing things that I probably wouldn't have done in the initial stages. I mean, to be through to the final five, amazing. Anything beyond this is just a blessing, really. So it's going to be very much trial and error at this point. Sort of ride and refine. So ride it, see what I need to refine, but also trying some stuff that might not work. The bike looks great as it is, so we'll just see where we can take this. I've got 2 more episodes. I just want to really wrap up this build series properly. So I have the penultimate day prior to the vote, and then the night when I had to submit my update for the vote. Those 2 days worth of footage I've now edited, and the first one will be here now. So you'll see the final fitment of the bell and the rear brake, and just talking about the 1930s bell in a bit more detail. And then tomorrow's episode will be wrapping the bars and getting the final photos and videos taken. Because it had been raining here so much, I had to actually do that inside a loading bay. Some of the concrete block background photos you'll have seen are from that. So yeah, feel free to skip this week's episode and go to next weekend when I have my first ride footage and other things like that. Obviously this is like a week late now, but I want to make sure that this build series is finished properly so that people can refer back to it in future years. Hopefully Eric does another Spindatt Trasher Bash competition and it becomes an annual thing, and I'd love for this to be a reference for people looking back and seeing what the competition's all about. So yeah, 2 more episodes. Thank you again to anybody who took the time to vote. Obviously I'm feeling very honoured now to have got through to the final 5, and I'm going to try and make the most of this experience as I have been doing so far. So yeah, plenty more exciting steps to come. Once again, thanks for watching, and here's the content from the penultimate day of getting ready for the vote. I've decided I'm not actually going to remove the ratchet from this left double tap shifter, but I am going to take the opportunity to take this cover off and just give it a really good clean out with some WD-40. You might be able to see it just here, but that is actually the clip that adjusts the reach of the brake lever. So yeah, somehow that's moved from inside this part here where the brake lever is. Normally you can use this screw here, this Allen key bolt, to move the reach of this lever back and forth, but with this being an old broken lever, that has come off at some point, so I'll be taking that clip there off like that and just giving it all a really good clean, and that should mean that it doesn't need too much maintenance going forwards. So yeah, just thought I'd show you the inside of this while we're at it, but I think leaving the ratchet on allows me to fine-tune the bell position much better, and also it's a great opportunity to be super childish because rolling along with this clicked into place without me having to hold the bell on with my hand is kind of what I want here. I don't want to be having to move my hand unnecessarily into a position that's not a good riding position to sound the bell. I really like the idea that I just whack it on, and also like it's a safety thing. On the roads sometimes you kind of hope that you could be heard more on a bike, and yeah, I think it would be great to see if what people found important in the 1930s is actually still useful today. I guess that back then the cars, you could probably hear through the windows and stuff more if there was a bell sounding, and there were probably a lot fewer cars on the road, so the road traffic noise levels in general will be much lower. But maybe it'd still be useful, you know, country roads with the odd car or people or horses or, you know, whatever. I think it could still be useful. So that's the 1930s bell, and yeah, see whether this tire driven technology can still be a benefit today. So here it is, all cleaned up, looking nice and shiny, ready for the outer cover to be screwed back on. There's 3 screws, 1, 2, 3, you can see the holes there, that fit over it, screw it back together. So yeah, a smooth running shifter ready for this 1930s bell. I'm just stringing up the brake to the rear cantilever at the moment in the same way that I did with the front one, and yeah, I've just run this piece of cable outer here through to this rear cantilever brake cable hanger. It's making this hanger go to sort of strange angle at the moment, but the height right dictates that I have to run it on the left hand side, the non-drive side. I can't run it on the drive side because I have the height right in position here, which is going to move up and down. So I think that's fairly good. I mean, in the position that outer is, it's not even hitting the frame too much, so that's quite good in terms of the paint and everything. So yeah, we'll carry on and just fit this brake in the same way that we did the front brake. I've already got a video up for that, so if you've missed that, then please check out that video. And then when we move on to the bell, I'll show you how that works. So the rear brake is all fitted, it's running nicely. I had to cut this piece of cable out here to the exact right length to prevent this cable hanger from being at a weird angle. So if you look at it now, you'll see it's straight on the frame, and that's what I wanted, so that it ran straight down to this straddle cable carrier, and then the straddle cable could run sort of symmetrically on both sides. So yeah, it was a little bit easier the second time round, this canty brake, but it's still very fiddly. And then I've just put a couple of these donuts on either end in case I do get sort of this chain tapping noise as I'm riding, which might be very annoying. It's better to have them here to start with. Yeah, so that runs to there, and then I've made sure that this piece of cable outer provides enough in terms of length for me to be able to basically spin the bar all the way around to this position. And so if you do, God forbid, end up in a crash or an accident, it doesn't pull all your cables out if your bars get knocked. So now what I'm doing is I'm just replacing the bolt for the bell with this 5mm Allen key head bolt. It's a little bit longer than the last one and a little bit stronger. and that's just going to fit here to a rack support arm that runs between there and the foot mount down here. So I'm just going to replace all that, and yeah, feel free to watch along. That's that, a new secure 5mm Allen key head bolt just here on the rack supporting arm to make sure that the bell is really secure and isn't going to move about there. Now all I need to do, literally apart from wrapping the bar tape and putting on some stickers, the last thing I have to do is run a gear cable to the bell from the shifter for this build. So we're really close to wrapping it up now. I'm about to run the gear cable from my SRAM rival double tap shifter down to this tyre driven 1930s style bell. So that moves across when the cable shortens and hits the tyre, turning this wheel, which makes the bell sound like that. So the tools I've got for this job are a cheap Wilco's gear inner wire, a section of brake cable outer so that it's got a little bit more space inside for the gear cable and there's just no resistance whatsoever. Also, it means I can fit these metal ferrules to the end, and the metal ferrule will butt up against the bell here. The bell's got a very rudimentary mechanism whereby these two pieces of metal move closer together and the actual cable is clamped shut using this basic nut and bolt system. So the bolt's got a hole through it like that, and a nut with a washer just closes that and tightens onto it. So that sits underneath one of these metal plates with the cable running through both plates, and it just literally moves like that. So other than the screwdriver and little spanner that I need to adjust this clamp, I have a couple of cable ties as well, and I'm basically thinking about running the brake cable out down here and then fitting a cable tie somewhere around here, bringing it around, another cable tie somewhere around here, and then down and in and onto the bell. So that's the plan. Obviously I've mocked this up with the cable just running straight down like that, but it'll be my first time trying it around this way. But I got the back brake fitted on the bike tonight, and basically everything now is operational apart from this bell. So I really want to get this working because the weather's terrible at the moment, so any chance where the roads are dry, where I can just take it for a ride around the closest car park just to test everything, now that's something I'm going to want to do. If not, then at work there's like a really wide loading bay internally within my office building, and if I can't take it for a ride outside here without getting it all clotted up in dirt before taking photos, then I'll probably take it to work and just ride it inside that loading bay. But yeah, anyway, the last step, it's exciting. It's really starting to feel like it's finished. After this, obviously I'll have to find some rubber hoods. I think I've got some somewhere. Then we'll be talking bar tape and finishing touches. So exciting. Yeah, I can't believe that the competition's getting to a point where 20 is going to be whittled down to 5. For me, it's been a lot more than a competition already. It really has given me the confidence to have a go at YouTube, and that's something I've wanted to do for a long time, so thank you very much for subscribing. Let's get this last part fitted onto the bike.
Right, so I finally got it into a position that I'm happy with. Can you see the gap there? If I just leave it there so you can see the gap. So let's click it on and off, on and off. And the cables are just how you would normally have it for a front derailleur cable, really. Just swinging down there. It then runs under the rack, and there's two cable ties, one here and one here. I might add another one along here at some point. But yeah, a bit of a pivotal moment for sure. I'm gonna now clip the final cable and the two cable ties, put an end cap on, and call it a night. So there we have it. The bike basically done. I can't believe it. Thank you so much for watching all the way through this series. I have really enjoyed making it. It's been a lot of work, very time consuming, but super rewarding. Some great comments in all the videos, brilliant tips and tricks, and people sharing their experiences of cycling and building bikes. So thank you so much for watching another episode of TriRealHard, and I'll see you on the next one for some bar tape. For all intents and purposes, it's rideable. But for now, I'll see you on the next one.